we started the podcast different? What if it was not? What if we didn't go into the big thing? Like, what if we were just...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 72 of My Mom, Sandy. I am your host, Sandy Fassett, and the gentleman sitting next to me never misses a chance to make me feel like shit. It's my son, Josh.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to episode 71 of My Mom, Sandy. We are your hosts. I am Josh Fassen, and the woman next to me is getting her law degree in stolen vehicles and subpoenases. This is My Mom, Sandy.
I know, I'm a little disappointed. I thought that you were going to title the episode Subpoenases.
Yeah, but then
I didn't see subpoenas anywhere on the written word.
No one would have, because people would have been like, because sub-penis sounds like a missing penis.
It is. It's either missing or very small.
So I thought, I was like, okay, well, if I...
It's a sub-penis.
Right. I was like, oh, well, if the episode ends up being called Sub-Penis and the Dog Next Door, people are going to think it's about a dog who bit off someone's penis.
Oh, God.
And then the penis
gross.
Is gone. So...
I loved your little booklet. It looked like... You never read...
I made that. Could you get a little bit closer to your microphone?
You never read Dick and Jane and Spot, did you?
I think I lived that.
Dick, Jane, and Spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I was a kid, we had these readers that it was See Dick Run, See Dick Run, See Jane Walk, See Spot Bark.
I feel like I know what you're talking about. I know.
That's kind of what the picture looked like to me.
It might have been, well, it was like I stole it. It was some book written by some lady. Oh. All right. So let's catch everyone up to speed before we get into this week's episode. Last week we talked about two things. We talked about you getting a subpoenas from the courts in Arizona, and then I had the nightmare dog barking. So catch everyone up quickly, because we have a whole episode to get into here.
Oh, I don't have much to say, apparently.
But you reached out to your victims' rights people, and what did they say?
He said, I didn't know that they issued you a subpoena. A subpoenas. And I said, I've been waiting for a subpoenas all my life, for God's sakes.
Could you imagine like what that would be like if there was a man, like if you were like romantic with a man and you pulled his pants down?
He said, subpoenas.
And it just was like the Ken dolls where it's just like a smooth batch of skin.
Nothing
right there. It's just, and you're like, and he's like, what do you think of my sub penis? Cause it's a missing penis.
Yeah, I never really cared for sub-penises. So I reached out and he said he wasn't aware that they had issued a subpoena. He said, is there a better day that week that you could come? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Except I didn't say it like that. And then he said, the state of Arizona will pay for your traveling costs. We'll fly you in. I said, no, I'm not getting on an airplane.
You should have said that you only fly first class. You should have been like, well, that's fine, but I don't fly coach.
Well, here's the thing is I've looked on the map. I've Googled it. Unfortunately, I hate Google.
Now they know. They know you're
Now
going.
they know I'm thinking about going to Florence, Arizona, which actually has
What if you accidentally wound up in Florence, Italy?
Well, that would be better for sure.
I love the bread and the cheese here.
And what else do they make in Florence?
Wine?
Salami. Yeah.
Salami.
Pizza.
Salami.
Pizza.
Yeah, I'll do the penis. Hold the sub penis.
We should tell people we're actually together today.
Well, that's when I say the woman next to me.
I know, but you say that every time.
Yes, this is our first.
You never say, "Oh, the woman across Redondo from me."
I think I did one episode. So this is the first episode, probably in about 5 months, that we are sitting actually next to each other in the original podcast studio 1A.
Maskless.
Well, we've never done a podcast with masks on.
No, but had we...
And if you guys hear that in the background, that is actually the washing machine, because my apartment complex raised the washer dryer unit to like $17 for a load of laundry.
Wait, I can't afford to do my laundry anymore.
No, it's not that I can't afford it. It's on principle.
I gotcha.
It's on principle. They get me for fucking, however much money in rent, $2,000 a month in rent, and then they jack up the price for all of that from like, $1.25 to like, $2, and then an additional dollar, it used to be $1, now it's like $1.50 for the dryer. And it sometimes doesn't even get your shit dry. And not to mention how I talked about last week that you had to like take people's shit out.
I can't hear you. Am I supposed to hear you in the earphones?
No, I think you just hear yourself. Because we're not on Skype, right?
Oh, okay.
We're doing this in person.
All right.
So I feel like you put your earphone in because you were like, oh, Josh has his earphone in, so I should put mine in. But
you're listening to it on the...
I'm plugged straight into the computer, so I'm hearing the master track.
Oh, okay. And I'm just hearing fucking nothing.
You look professional,
do I
though.
look good now?
Yeah,
I look like a real podcaster.
You don't hear yourself in there?
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I do.
Oh.
I hear it when I do that.
Yeah, don't do that because they hear that.
Okay,
well.
So back to my story. Otherwise, we're never going to get to.
Right.
So the state of Arizona will pay for my traveling costs. I am not. I told him I have to drive out. Blah blah blah. So anyway, he's going to check with some people and then he's going to get back to me, probably via email. What do you need?
Just making a note of a timestamp.
Oh.
So if they come back, right? If this guy comes back and he's like, okay, you have to go. What does that look like?
I don't know.
Will you fly first class? Business?
Well, here's the other thing.
You get one of those seats that like reclines and you're just drinking like Bloody Marys the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
That's right. So I get into court and they'd be like, is this your car? I don't know. Not anymore.
You're
Not.
like, looks like my car.
I can't keep myself
What does that
awake.
say? Fantastic Frappuccino?
That's
Your
right.
Honor, do you have a sub-penis?
Do you have a subpoenas for me?
I got the subpoenas and I came to Florence, Italy, Arizona. Ask me what I had for dinner last night. It was a pizza.
See, here's the other thing, is that Florence, Arizona
Piece
is
of
like
shit.
61 miles from Phoenix and like 71 miles from Tucson. So, and they do have an airport, but it's like, I think it's like a little itty bitty teeny tiny. So I don't know if they would fly me into Phoenix and then I'd change planes and then fly to, I'm not going to do that on a little airplane into some hokey.
What if you why don't you like go big with it and just be like, look, like, I don't fly during a pandemic. I need road transportation out there because I also like, I don't drive. I have a bad foot. So
could you Uber me, please?
Yeah, no, just be like, I need a limo or like a party bus. I need my face on the side to
with my
Mom Sandy logo.
That's right. There you go. We could advertise all the way from here to Arizona.
It'd be great content.
That's right.
All right, so that's kind of that. We're waiting.
So
what's going
I'm
on.
waiting to hear. I don't know what I said last week, but apparently they can issue a bench warrant, which I guess they'd drive me to Arizona and put me in jail.
That'd be a fun episode. My Mom Sandy goes to jail.
That's right. We could do that.
God,
they have like a prison there. In
you'd be
Florence,
so tough.
too. I'd be
like you
tough.
come out with like a teardrop tattooed under your eye.
There you go. Perfect.
I had to kill someone because they wouldn't stop talking about their sub penis.
I didn't want to talk about sub-penises.
Okay, so
what's going on with the
in my
dog?
neck of the woods, the dog is still barking. I wrote two emails in like separated by like a day to the property manager, and she was basically like, "Look, I've talked to the tenants. They're going to try some things to fix this problem." And then she was like, "I've talked to my supervisors, so if this continues, then like I can go into like the next steps that I'm going to take, right?" So that was, I don't know, maybe Wednesday. That was Wednesday, I think, or maybe Tuesday when I heard from her. And she said that she was going to actually be out of the office, until this coming Tuesday. So I guess the day that until Tuesday, the day that this podcast comes out. And, that she just asked me if I could, just let her know what I hear. So, Wednesday I was at work no, okay, that's a lie. Wait, no, yes. Wednesday I was at work all day. Thursday I was at work all day. Friday I heard it. Friday the dog barked for about 2 hours from like 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. Saturday morning.
Where are they? Are they like gone all day? I mean,
I don't know. I have no idea. Saturday morning they bark. The dog barks. Woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning and went till about 9:45. Woke me up again this morning at about 8:15. Went till about 10. And during that time, I just lost it. Cause I told the lady, I was like, look, I looked up the Redondo Beach Animal Control. You can't have a dog that barks for more than 5 minutes in an hour, in any given hour. That's essentially a noise violation. And I told the property manager that. She was like, look, I get it. You know, I'm just trying not to resort to this. So I left because everyone was like, oh, write a note, give it to me. Or maybe the tenants don't know. So anyway, I wrote a note today because I just was on my I was just like, I can't listen to this anymore. And I have recordings of it now. So I was basically like,
oh, can we hear those?
Yeah. So I was basically like, dear tenants. So I taped this note to their front door and they got it. I had a guy deliver it, you know. What's that called? How did you get your...
A subpoena?
It was a subpoena. I said, dear tenants, I've listened to your dog bark, cry, and whine multiple times a day since you moved in. The barking and crying lasts for 30 minutes to hours on end sometimes. I have been woken up by it in the morning and have had to cancel dinner plans because of it in the evening. I had high hopes that it would get better over time, but it has not. I mean, it's been almost 3 months, you know, and this happens almost every single day. I continue. Redondo Beach has a city ordinance that prohibits dog barking for more than 5 minutes in any given hour. I'll be notifying Redondo Beach Animal Control and Animal Services by the end of the week if it continues. Thank you for understanding. I think it's pretty nice.
Yeah, don't be surprised if you don't go home and find your windows broken and pig's blood on your door.
I don't know if you'll be able to hear it.
Oh. Did it start? Oh. Just when you think
for hours,
stopped.
For hours,
it
hours
starts again.
For hours.
So just when you start to fall right back into sleep, it's
so I'm getting ready to actually tell the property manager, like, look, I can't be here during the day because I can't work. You know, I mean, I don't know. I told her I'd take work phone calls sometimes. But like, I can't work. I can't, you know, so I'm not gonna. I'll pay you guys rent when this stops. You know. I mean, I'm on my last leg here. I mean, it is, and again, I'm not anti-dog. I'm not upset at the dog. I'm upset at the people that they're not doing anything to make this better, right? Or at least it doesn't seem like it, you know? And again,
maybe you should put a list of doggy daycare centers on their door.
Well, that's the thing is that, I mean, like,
maybe they don't even know that they're available to do.
I mean, look, at this
point... How
would
they take their dog there? Like, run them on a leash while they bike?
She has like an electric bike. She carries the dog.
I mean, do you see them taking the dog out to walk it or anything?
I don't really see them a lot, period.
Yeah.
I see a couple of my neighbors who I've, like, introduced myself to. We say hi. They're very nice. But I don't see these people necessarily a whole bunch. So... Unless
they're working out in the garage.
Yeah, which I haven't even seen them do for a hot second. But again, like, you know, Wednesdays and Thursdays I'm gone all day. Sometimes on the weekends I'm not there. So the other days that I'm there, you know, sometimes I'll be running errands or whatever. So it's not like I'm going out and spending a bunch of time in the garage waiting for them to come out and work out, you know. I just know that when the dog starts barking, I'm assuming they're not there, right? So anyway, at this point I'm just like, I've had it. You know, I've been very nice and very understanding for 2 months, 3 months now almost. Everyone I've talked to that I've told, they're like, I would have lost my mind. Like, I would have had animal control. I would have had the police. I would have withheld my rent. And I've been trying to just, you know, for 3 months almost now, I've been like, look, the dog is maybe getting comfortable, whatever. But like, it's not even that it's not even getting minutely better. If anything, I feel like I hear that it's getting worse. I feel like there's more days out of the week that they're not there. You know, and maybe it's because, you know, in the beginning they weren't working a lot or they were working from home, you know, and now I feel like for whatever reason, they're gone almost every single day for however long. And the dog is usually barking or whining or crying that entire time. It is the most annoying thing in my entire life that I've ever dealt with in my entire life. Well, except for when I had COVID. That was pretty annoying.
Except what?
When I had COVID.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm hoping that you,
and I signed my name and I put my social security number and my credit card information.
Good. And then did you... Oh, my phone's like going crazy. Then did you paint a red arrow that pointed to your apartment in pig's blood?
No, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's so loud that I feel like...
They could vandalize your place or something. Or
okay, let them.
Put a bag of crap on your door. They got dog crap ready there.
Let them do it. They don't know it's me. They don't know that I left the note. You know, it could have been anyone.
Well, you signed your name, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't sign.
No, why would I
it.
sign my fucking name?
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Because like I said, I do see these.
Josh Fasten, apartment number 3.
Really?
Come on over if you'd like to talk about it in person.
I don't usually
Bring
watch
your gun.
them, but I know there are those shows on ID. Fear Thy Neighbor, Fear Thy Roommate.
Yeah, no, I didn't leave my name. I even kind of I was going to write the whole note left-handed so that they couldn't even trace it back to me.
I don't think they're going to be able to trace it back to
the
you.
next note is going to be, I'll do the doggy daycare locations, but I'll do dog daycare.
Yeah.
And I'll just do I'll cut letters out of magazines.
Oh, there you go. It'll be like
dog
a ransom,
daycare.
really a ransom note. Maybe you should.
I fucking had it. I had it. It's getting to the point where it's fucking unlivable. I don't like it, and I don't like having to be a dick. I like everything to just go easy peasy, just easy breezy peasy.
So I wonder if you
crisscross applesauce.
I wonder if you had really good soundproofing walls. I don't think that would really take that. Not with that.
I feel like the dog, and I know that this is not the case, but I feel like the dog has a cone on its head, and it puts its face up to the wall and starts barking directly into the wall.
Kind of like the glass cup on the
the
telephone.
It is so fucking annoying. And again, I don't know if you guys can hear it. I mean, I was playing it off my phone, but I essentially have a property manager's been out of the office for 5 days or whatever, and so far 3 of the days the dog has been barking. And I don't even if it was just one time, 1 hour, 1 month, it would be okay, but it's not. It's all the fucking time. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't want to linger on this too much because we have shit to talk about, but it's not getting any better. So if anything, it's exactly the same, which I keep trying to tell the property manager. I'm like, look, this is not getting better. It's exactly the same. I understand that you've talked to them and you're talking to them very firmly, Francesca, but it's not getting any better.
Yeah, not a great situation for sure. I'm sorry that you have to go through that, but that's another drawback when you live in an apartment building. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I moved out years ago. I've never had to deal with this, and again, I've heard dogs barking, and I'm like, oh, fine, dogs are barking, but this is every single day for hours. This kind of shit should not happen, cannot happen, right? There's city ordinances about this. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Sorry. So animal control is probably going to come on Tuesday or Friday. I'm at work on Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll see. We'll see how they like it when animal control shows up.
I wonder what they'll do, if they just issue a ticket or if
I have to print out a thing because I'm not sure if you have to do it in writing or if you can call, but there's a form that I'm going to fill out and mail it anyways, just so that it's all out there. I'm pulling out all the fucking stops. Okay. So we talked about it last week, about what we were going to talk about this week. We watched a show on HBO called
Class Action Park.
Class Action Park.
It was really Action Park was the name.
That was the name of the theme park. So it's a documentary about a theme park in New Jersey. And it was essentially they kind of billed it as the world's most dangerous theme park. And it was...
Well, they didn't... That wasn't they didn't build it because they wanted to build the...
No, I'm saying they bill it.
Oh, they bill it. Okay. I thought you said they built it. Because when they built it, they were...
Bad news bill.
They were very haphazard about how they built it. I mean,
yeah, so it was this... So essentially, look, I don't know if you guys watched it or if you guys are going to watch it, but spoilers, and then we're going to talk about some stuff, so just, go along. This guy kind of comes along and he had some ski stuff, some ski resort stuff. And then he was like, oh, I'm going to build this fucking theme park. And he had never built a theme park, nor did he really know anything about building a theme park. But he's like, I'm going to fucking do it. And
he did it at the site of the ski.
Yeah. It was all there.
It was like a summer.
Yeah.
It was like a summer thing.
Yeah.
For his ski resort, which he ran in the wintertime.
So it was kind of that thing of here's, we're going to do some water slides and some, there was a portion of the park that was water parkish.
Right.
And then there was a portion that was I think the motor, the motorway.
Automotive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what they talk about in this thing, and the reason why I brought this up was because I think back, with theme parks now just reopening and stuff, I think back to when I was a kid and, I obviously didn't go to Action Park. I have some friends, surprisingly, who I've been like, oh, did you watch it? And they're like, oh my God, yeah, because they grew up on the East Coast. They're like, fuck, I went there. One of my clients was like, I went as a kid. He's like, it was the most fucking dangerous, scary thing I've ever done in my life, you know? And
I mean, do you tell your parents you're going there?
well, so that's something else that I want to get into as well. But I want to kind of recap the park and then we'll kind of go into that. But the park itself, you know, it seemed like it was kind of a couple guys maybe that were just like, yeah, we're going to build these things. And we don't really know how to build them, but we're just going to do it. Like, we're just going to bring people in. Like, they did this water slide that was like a loop-de-loop, right? It had like a fucking complete like 360 loop in it. And they were like, let's test it. You know, like, it wasn't like, they didn't know.
They didn't know exactly how it was going to work.
Well,
it looks, when you see it in the movie, it just looks like they took a bunch of, like not even piping. It looks like, I can't even think of what it really, they make these cat toys now that are like they're like little tunnels and they're made out of
that's
like,
exactly what it looks like.
They're made out of like fabric and wires that hold
But
fabric.
not to mention that it was never like the thing where it was like, oh, well, let's see, like, what happens to the body if it's going around like they were just like, let's build it, put someone down there.
Yeah.
Right. Let's fucking fill it up with water and shoot them down. And what was happening was that like when they were testing it out, these people were coming out like missing teeth and like these like lacerations on them. And they're like, all right, well, let's, send down the second group. And then they sat down the second group and they were coming down with like these like scrapes. And they're like, that's so weird. Like there was no exposed screws. So they open up the hatch to look inside this fucking thing. And it's all the people's teeth that had been stuck in the tubing from the first group. And the teeth were like lacerating the second people.
Oh my God.
People were saying they would like hit their head, get a fucking conky and like come out concussed. And they were just like, and they're like, keep them going. Keep them going.
Really?
What was it? Gene Muldehill?
Yeah, Gene.
Keep them going.
Uncle Gene.
Uncle Gene.
Uncle Gene. Everybody called him Uncle Gene. He was a great guy. And he tested all of his rides on his employees.
Yeah, he was just like, all right, Jimmy, you're up. They did one with like PVC piping. It was like balling a ball down a hill or something. And it was like this like giant ball, like steel ball that they put people in and they ran it down this PVC piping, but the PVC piping broke because the steel ball was too. And then all of a sudden the steel ball is like rolling across the freeway, like unfucking believable.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what ends up happening is as time had gone on, like more and more people came to this theme park, more and more, kids, teenagers, whatever. And over time, people fucking got hurt. People got killed. I mean, and as you're watching it and they describe the rides, you're just like, at least for me, I was just like, there's no fucking way.
I know there was that Colorado River ride where they would, they were like in the rafts.
Oh, and then like it would just get backed up on like this one corner, and the rafts were like just like crashing into other people.
Rafts would be crashing into
people would get
other
out and like
rafts.
punch people.
People would start having fist fights right there in the water because they're. And then didn't they at one time they painted the bottom of the pools and stuff a different color so they could see the floating bodies.
Because it was like their wave pool. It wasn't buoyant. Buoyant. That's the word. Like buoyant.
I don't know what
it was fresh water. It wasn't like salt water. So you couldn't, so it was like this wave pool. And like, I think on one end, they're like, oh, we call it the graveyard because it's like so fucking deep that like the waves just overtake people and they just fucking go to the bottom. And they gotta clear the wave pool every 20 minutes to search for dead bodies on the bottom of it.
Yeah, so they painted it a different color.
It's like, guys, you gotta close the park. This isn't gonna work.
Really, so they could see the contrast of the dead body.
There was like this thing with like these like little speedboats that like you would take around, and the woman, they're interviewing this woman and she's like, I'm pretty sure that like the lake or like the river that these like speedboats were going around in, it was like filled with like snakes and like gasoline.
Oh yeah.
So like if you go over, like not only are you getting like gasoline in but like you're probably being attacked by snakes. And I was just like, oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
So who would let their kids go to a place
so
like
I think that like it was one of the things that I took away from it and watching it was like, yes, this is extremely deadly and extremely scary. And
well, on top of that, all the staff was alcoholed up like all the time.
Yeah, there was tons of booze and so, but I think about that time period, right? What was it? The 80s into 90s, right? It was like late 80s into early 90s, I believe.
For
like when the park was operating.
No,
yeah.
I think it was the late 70s.
No, you're out of your mind because they were
78, 79.
No, because they were doing like MTV stuff.
Well, wait, you don't think we had MTV?
Well, not 79? This particular. No, I mean, they were doing like.
Well, pick up your phone and Google it.
All right, so.
It's the only reason Google's available. I mean, Google's a good thing.
Action Park years.
Unless they don't want you to know.
Action Park.
And we're like, Action Park, what the hell's that?
All right, it opened to the public in 1978, and
I told you.
it closed in September of 1996. So, I mean, we were both
96?
right. Yeah, so we were both right in a way.
70, so it almost went 20 years without and even after that guy got killed on that roller coaster?
Yes.
What, now, on that particular thing, the guy flew out of the roller coaster.
Oh, so, okay, hold on, time out. It wasn't a roller coaster.
No, what was
it? It was like a half tube.
Was it like a log?
No, it was like a half tube, and then there was these plastic sleds that you were going down that had a brake thing, like a penis pull.
Yeah. And they're in the middle.
Yeah, so you would just grab down on the penis and pull it back, and it would break the thing. But I guess they say a lot of these fucking carts, the brake was broken. So, but then they go on to say there was 2 or 3 turns, deadly turns, where if you didn't pull the brake, you would fly off the track. Yeah. Right? There was nothing keeping you on the track. Yeah. Right? So yeah, this guy flew off, hit his head on this rock, and fucking was.
He died.
He was dead. Yeah,
he ended up dying.
Fucking horrible.
And they sued, but they didn't. I don't think they won. I think that
no, there was some weird shit where they were well, the settlement for a teenage son is not that much. There was some weird
I know, but
they very 90s, very 80s, 90s.
Yeah, but what they also said was it wasn't the ride that killed him; it was the rock that he hit his head on that killed him. It was are you fucking kidding me? We're going to get crazy like that?
Well, so I think that, looking at that and watching it when they, not 78, but more so the late 80s, early 90s, right? Towards the end. And it seemed like that was kind of when that death happened, was kind of the later years. Yeah. It didn't happen early on. But watching it, I was kind of wow, this is a really good time capsule of how life was at that time, right? I felt it was very much okay, yeah, go to the park, go to the theme park, have fun, come home, right? I even remember with us, right? And not that, but you guys were yeah, go outside. I'm oh, I'm going to go to, Freddy's across the street, or we're going to go play football on the street. And it's okay, come home later. It was never okay, well, take your phone, call, that shit didn't exist. I remember, we would leave the garage door open for hours. We had all sorts of shit in the garage, and it was you just leave it open for hours. So to me, this thing, and they talk about it of the parents are going to drop the kids off at the theme park, pick them up later or whatever. Kids are sneaking booze. There's these after hour parties. To me, that was very much a sign of the times, not to say the parents didn't care about kids, but I felt everything was, if the kids were oh, it's safe, I felt the parents were okay, it's safe, right? It was because you didn't have.
I would not have taken my child's word for it.
But
being
you didn't
safe,
right,
especially they show so many newspaper clippings and
right. But remember that time though, we didn't have the internet really, right? So you couldn't go up and look at things about this.
You couldn't look at reviews.
You couldn't look at the Yelp reviews on Action Park, So it was just kind of that thing oh, there's this water park. Can we go? Sure, go. Knock yourself out.
Knock yourself out for sure.
Remember they talk about that rope swing? And they're oh, you get up at the top of the rope swing and everyone's jump off, you fucking pussy, Just oh God.
And then they say you fall into this water and it's like snowmelt water. It's so fucking cold. You go into hypothermic shock. If you actually make it to the side, you got to swim your ass off to get out of it. So
my client Mike Reeves. Hey, Mike Reeves. He doesn't listen, but my client Mike Reeves said he grew up over there, and he said he went to the park, and he goes, my one memory that I have is walking past this rope swing, or whatever. And he goes, it was like this for a lot of the rides. There would be these crowds that would form, this Lord of the Flies shit, right? And these people are hey, you fucking pussy, jump off the rope swing, you pussy, what are you, little bitch boy, And he was I would not even get close to those rides because I was terrified of
really? What they're gonna yell at me.
He's that one water slide where you come down and it's just this black tunnel at the bottom, and then you fly out 7 feet, and
they would let people fly out on top of other people.
Right, they were shoulders were separated and stuff. Yeah. People were walking out with fucking dislocated shoulders. Come on, you pussy!
And that road rash all over their arms and their legs, all down the side of their body.
But again, I think that was very much, kind of a sign, not a sign of the times, but it was that thing. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have Yelp reviews. We didn't have, couldn't read the stuff, right?
I know, but again, if it was in the newspaper, and on top of that, I mean, I don't know. I had never heard of Action Park.
Same.
So, but then again, I lived on the East Coast only till I was up in, only till like the early 60s. So
You missed it by a few years.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I missed it by a few years. But having said that, if I knew about it, I would never allow my kids to go. As a matter of fact, we oftentimes used to have those little tiny fairs with rides and stuff set
very
up
dangerous.
around. Yeah.
Very
I know. And I used to always be like, cause they'd have like those hammer things where you sit in it and it goes up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. Well, I mean, how do we know that those things are put together
All right.
well?
So that brings me to the next thing. But with the sign, I mean, you see what I'm saying though about, where I'm sure there was not a lot of parents that were looking up the information. So
I'm
they were
sure
just like,
that I'm sure the kids were telling their folks that,
But I don't even think the kids knew, right? The kids were just like, oh, there's fucking everyone's talking about Action Park. What did they say? Like over the school year would start, the kids would show up with like broken legs and fucking. They're like, oh, you go to Action Park this summer? I was like, yeah, I went to Action Park.
But
yeah.
I mean, the kids would know, especially if it's around for close to 20 years. The kids are going to know at some point. They're going to tell their buddies that
my nose was whistling.
Oh, they're going to tell their buddies that.
I don't even.
That it's dangerous.
But I know. But how many kids though do you have that are like the fucking that always push the envelope, right? Like I had those friends. You know?
Yeah, and on top of that, if you could
Like,
go and get booze and stuff like that.
I remember going skateboarding, and I was never this guy, but I remember going skateboarding and like it'd be like, oh, I would like ollie off this like 3 stair, and then my buddy would be like, I'm gonna try the ollie off the 57 stairs. I'm just like, oh my God, you're gonna kill yourself. And like we didn't have cell phones. Right?
I know.
So like had that happened and he had like broken his head open, what do? You run to the police station? You run to the ambulance? Anyway, so let's move this, right? Cause you were talking about those little, I always call them like the aviation gym.
Well, that's cause that's where they are here.
The aviation gym, fairs. It's like carnival.
Carnival.
Yeah.
It's a carnival.
So I think that like you bring up a good point, right? I've had so many times where, even like the big name theme parks, and we'll get into that in a moment, but going to these places, these carnivals and these theme parks, and being the guy that was like looking at a ride and being like, there's no way that you guys tightened and cleaned all the screws and the conveyor belts and the, whatever. Like,
And then you look at the operators of the rides and you think, okay, this guy looks like a dumb shit. I'm sorry.
Hey, you get on to, we got room for 4 more? Yeah, I got room for 4 more. And you're just like, this doesn't seem safe. At least Disneyland, they're in costume, So
there
you're
you go. You don't really know who they are.
He does look like a pirate. He's probably safe,
Oh, God.
So then, I remember, with Disneyland, I remember as a kid, because even Disneyland, I mean, I feel like, sometimes we would go with like our cousins or whatever, like, my cousin Brian, you would, I remember distinctly being like, okay, Josh and cousin Brian can go on some rides and meet us back at whatever at this time. I remember Disneyland as a kid, you're just like, you look at Disneyland, you're like, fuck, Disneyland's huge. Mm-hmm. I could get lost. I could wind up in Frontierland and never make my way back to Adventureland, Like you'd pass like Pirates of the Caribbean. You're like, well, we better go on now because we might not walk back across Pirates of the Caribbean ever again.
We're here now. Let's do it.
But I remember, and I was hoping my cousin Brian was going to email about this. Thanks a lot, my cousin Brian. But I remember hearing this story as a kid about the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Big Thunder Railroad Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain. That, and it's like it makes it feel
somebody
like
died.
Yeah, it makes it feel like it's like one of those like old like wood coasters, But I don't think it's wood. I think it's actually steel. But you're in like the mining carts.
Yeah, the logs.
No, you're not in a log. That's Splash Mountain.
Oh.
But you're in like the mining carts.
Well, maybe I've never been on that ride.
I feel like you have.
Is that when they have all the singing people?
That's definitely Splash Mountain. So, yeah, I'm glad you remember that. Which I'll get to Splash Mountain.
I probably have not been on that one, and I'm
pretty sure you have. So there's a point though where I remember hearing this story, and I don't know, whatever.
Oh, I know it's it's a roller coaster. It's a real roller coaster.
Exactly what I just said. It's a roller coaster. Yeah, and there was a guy, I guess, on it, and he was like, I don't know, the lap bar was like, because it's like just one like bar that comes down over the lap.
Yeah.
And I guess he like it wasn't very tight, so he could like put his hands up and like move around a little bit, and it, like went over this hump. This like little hill bump, and when it like came down, it shoots back up. So he tried like standing up and like putting his arms up or whatever.
Oh.
And then as it came down and it came back up, there was like a low hanging like rock and just like took his head off, just like beheaded him.
Wow.
Yeah. So I remember for years I was like, I'm not going on Big Thunder Mountain, and that's a no for me. You know.
Well, you can go on it, just don't stand up.
Well, right, but I was just like, well, what if that happens to me? You know. And then Splash Mountain. What's funny about Splash Mountain is I remember because that opened up when I was a kid. You know. And I remember us going to Disneyland and me being like, man, I want to go to this fucking Splash Mountain. And it was this big drop. And you could see the drop, and it looks like it goes into like trees and like foliage and like fucking spikies.
That's where they take that picture of you, right?
Yeah. And I remember doing it as a kid, and you sit like front to like in a line.
Yeah.
Right. So I would have sat, like you would have sat behind me. Right. And there's no fucking strap of any sort. There's just literally like handlebars on the side of the fucking log.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, I was like, I don't know, whatever, 8. I probably weighed like 45 pounds, And I remember
at 8,
I was 8 years old. I weighed 45 pounds. I was like 2'4". And I remember like,
okay,
you guys could carry me by my ears and just like, all right, let's go on
Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain.
So I remember like getting up to the top and it peeking over because you can kind of see the drop. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrifying. And then literally, as it starts to going, it lifted my whole butt up off of the log. And I was like, other than my hands, like I was completely airborne.
Really?
And I remember being like, my little 45-pound frame, I was just trying to hold myself into this log.
First of all, I don't think you were 45 pounds at 8, but
I was like, why is no one catching me? Like I was just like flying, It was the closest I've ever come to like, I was like one of the Wright brothers all of a sudden, terrifying.
I didn't realize that.
I never talked about it. And then and then you come down, you get all wet, and I was just, and there was that adrenaline. I'm like, well, that was kind of fun, but I was like, I'll probably never go on that again. And I have a very like strong like fight or flight response that I found out that I have like on roller, because there's this other roller coaster I've done at Knott's where like your feet hang.
Yeah.
So like, you sit in this thing, and then there's like the shoulder like chest lock comes down, and then it like seat belts in, and then there's like 2 handlebars here, right? But your feet are just like free dangling, and like I'll get in that thing, and I'm like, all right, and like immediately I sit down and I'm like, here's all the shit that's gonna go wrong. I'm gonna lose both of my shoes, right? So I like lean over, I like tighten them, like the attendant comes over, she's like checking on the chest thing. I'm like, could you double knot that on my tenny, And then I will literally, because my arms, like, I'm not like a bodybuilder, I will literally run my arms crisscross applesauce through the fucking bars in the front, so that, because in my head, I'm like, the seatbelt's gonna give way. The seatbelt is gonna give way.
I don't know why you bother to go on these rides.
It's gonna, the arm, the shoulder chest strap is gonna fly up open, and I'm gonna literally
better hold on.
And I'm gonna be holding, and my body is gonna be just flailing back and forth because this one like goes upside down and it has like corkscrews, and literally I just imagine like my legs like the
tangled
thing,
up,
like the thing ending, and my legs are just like, all the bones in my legs are broken and they're just fucking jumbled together.
They're like ragdoll.
100%.
Ragdoll
so like
legs.
I will like crisscross applesauce my arms on the chest thing to keep me locked in. And I am holding on for dear life.
Oh my God.
Every time that it does an upside down, like it's like going, and I'm like, here we go. And as it like starts the corkscrew, I like push down on my chest because I'm like, the seatbelt's gonna malfunction. It's gonna fly up. So I gotta hold it down. This is all that's keeping me in,
Oh my God, Josh. I don't know why
and
you
then
go
when,
on
and then
these.
when I get done, my shirt is like
Stopping
soaked. My hands are like the most clammy, disgusting white clammy hands. I went with like, I went a couple years ago, we went to Knott's Berry Farm, and the girl,
does this happen like now?
A couple years ago, the girl that I was with, like, we get off and we're like walking, we're like holding hands, and she's like, what the fuck is wrong with your hands? I'm like, what do you, I'm like trying to play it off like, oh no, I'm fine. And she's just like, your fucking hand is soaked and it's clammy. And she like puts her hand on my shirt. She's like, you're fucking soaked. You're just disgusting. And I was like, sorry, I get a little stressed out on the roller coasters,
I don't know why you go. Have you ever been to Magic Mountain?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I know.
There's one roller coaster too at Knott's, and I've been on it, I think, once. And it's so funny because like, actually there's 2 that I'll talk about, but just three things I'll talk about. But there's one where like, there's one part of the roller coaster that like, it comes up and it's like an upside down U.
Yeah.
And it's high. Like you can be like anywhere in the park and you can see it. But like, there's no like stabilizers like on the track at that point because it's so high up.
Yeah.
And because it's not, you go up like sideways.
Yeah.
So every time you go up, you see the track shake. And I just remember being like, well, that's not safe.
Have you been on that one?
Yeah, I've been on it. It's terrifying. Cause you get up so high and you realize that there's like in my brain, I'm like, what is holding the cart to the track? And what is keeping the track from just breaking and like raining people down?
I don't know why you bother to go on them if they're that terrifying. I mean, that's why I don't go on them.
Or like those free fall ones where like, again, they strap you in like your legs dangle and it just goes up and then it like shoots you back down. Yeah. So those I always look at. And I remember I went on with my friend Mike and Grant. We did one of those like one year. And we're like walking up to it and like, as I walk up, I'm just like, yeah, what do you got for me, you little free fall fucking ride? You just ride for little kids. And then I get on it and I'm strapped in. I'm like, all right, boys, let's do it, huh? Here we go, boys. Let's do this. And the minute it gets like, I don't know, 10 feet off the ground, I'm like, man, this is a horrible idea. This is a really, really bad idea. And then it gets to the very top and you're at the top and it's just like, you just like sit there for like, I don't know, maybe 7 seconds, like just enough for like a little bit of urine to come out of your pee.
A little anticipation.
Oh God. Oh God.
I shot a pee before I got on.
And then it's like, and then you hear the sound. It goes, it's like the fucking air brakes, like letting go. Yeah. And then it just drops you and you just like free. And then
I think I've been on that.
And then and then your whole body lifts up, you know, cause all it's keeping you in is these arm shoulder things, right? But I remember looking at that from the ground and being like, man, if that thing just like free falls,
you'd be dead.
I'm like, it is literally going to bury people like 20 feet down. Like if it just, like if the brakes don't work and like I've had that talk with like guys I've ridden it. I'm like, what do you guys think if the brakes don't work? What do you think happens then? You know? And it's like,
I wonder how they like test those like on a daily basis.
That's what I'm saying.
Or do they?
Right. Or better yet, what about the fucking, and we didn't even talk about this. You want to talk about danger? What were the things at Disneyland? The fucking cable cars? Remember those?
The ones that go across the park?
Yeah, because they're not there. They've been gone for years.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, those have been gone because
smoke joints of those.
But you know what would happen? People would jump and commit suicide from them.
Oh, that's not a good thing. I didn't know that.
But well, I mean, think about how dangerous this is, right? You get on this thing.
I thought they just went up there and spit on people.
It's completely open.
Yeah.
And you like it takes you across the whole park. I think you go through, or you used to go through like Matterhorn Mountain or whatever.
Yes.
But like they had to do away because they had people fucking jumping from them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It wasn't. What were they called?
I wanted to say they were called the People Movers, but I don't think that's what they're called.
No, I don't think they were the People Movers. I loved those. Those were so fun.
So I looked up.
And the easy way to get from one side of the park to the other.
It was, but it's so dangerous. I mean, could you think about it, right? They didn't.
I never thought about jumping out.
But they didn't put up like any sort of like plastic.
No, but you couldn't. But
you could literally just climb over the edge and jump out.
I thought they had like bars that kind of went up. Like you'd have to like sneak through a bar. I don't know. I know at Disneyland I went on that Space Mountain ride once.
It's in the dark. That's scary for me because I am always like, well, what's going to hit my face? What kind of steel pole is going to hit my face?
I went on it once and I'll never go on it again. I swear. I think I had like whiplash and I really thought I'm falling out of this thing. Every time we do a quick right or left turn, I'm like falling out. I don't enjoy those rides. The Matterhorn I like, and then like Magic Mountain, I remember before I married your father, we went there once and there was that big, for the time, I don't know, it was like the big, scary roller coaster. I can't remember what it was called, but.
What, at Disneyland?
No, at Magic Mountain.
Oh. There's a lot of.
Yeah, there's a ton of them now. But I remember we stood in line to get on it. I didn't want to go on it in the first place. And I don't know if I guess we probably actually did, but they actually closed it down for like 20 minutes. Well, we were in line and they were doing like safety check and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like this is, yeah. I mean, I'm glad you're doing a safety check, but now I'm worried about the safety because you got to stop it and check it.
I like when like you're on a, ride or whatever and it's just like the ride stops, obviously, right? And then like all the music's still going, whatever. And they're like, we're having a momentary problem with the ride. It's like, just get me off the ride. Get me out. I've always wanted to like have that and then have to like sneak through the like secret areas,
I've gotten stuck on Small World at Disneyland. And then that one time we were at Universal with our friends, with Terry. And,
it was called the People Mover.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when we got stuck in a ride there?
No, I don't remember that.
Trying to think of what it was.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I did find out. So there was a man, a 17-year-old man, who was crushed to death while riding on the People Mover in 1967 at Disneyland. He decided that he was going to jump in between two of the moving cars just as they were entering a tunnel, and he missed, fell onto the tracks, and then was run over by an oncoming train.
Well, wait. Those People Movers are not the things from the top.
Maybe those are maybe this is the what are they called? Not the Matterhorn. So it's fucking.
I like the monorail.
The monorail. Yeah, the People Mover.
Yeah, no, these are sky. They're called sky something.
Sky boats.
Sky something or others.
There's another story here of
sky cars.
Could you imagine? There's a disabled man is subjected to 40 minutes of It's a Small World. 2009, a computer glitch on Small World left a quadriplegic man stranded on the ride for 40 minutes. Disney was able to immediately evacuate all the passengers except for the disabled man and his wife.
Oh, wow, what a bummer.
Listening to It's a Small World for 40 minutes.
I'm telling you, we've been in there and I mean, the ride, first of all, is long, and then we got stuck in there once, and yeah, the music just keeps playing. And playing.
Kill me.
And playing, exactly.
Throw a barking dog in there for good measure, and you have hell.
We used to love going there. I haven't been to any amusement parks in like fucking years.
You want to go? Want to go to Disney? Big Thunder Mountain?
No, you'd have to get me a wheelchair.
You're so dramatic.
Well, I have a foot problem. I can't. It's hard for me to walk.
You gonna get that fixed ever?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd like to. It's been really painful this week.
Are you wearing your Crocs?
I usually wear my slippers. I don't go out much. So
good.
I
remember I had a dream when I was a kid, and it was in my dream we were on Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
And you remember, in like Haunted Mansion when you're up above and you're in the doom buggy.
Yes.
And you look down and there's like the dining room scene and there's like the ghost dancing and shit.
Yes.
In my dream, I fell from the doom buggy down.
And went to the party?
And then, but it was like I fell and I was like hurt and no one knew that I was down there and I couldn't.
Why do you call it a dune buggy? It's a fucking.
It's called a doom buggy.
Doom buggy. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
It's just a fucking seat that you sit in.
Okay, well, I guess Disneyland wanted to create a little bit more atmosphere than just
doom
saying,
buggy.
Then being like, please get into the fucking seat. Please keep your arms.
Please get into the fucking doom buggy.
Please keep your arms and legs in your fucking doom. Seat at all times. The thing about the doom buggy was,
oh my god!
Do you know that he did the voice for the Haunted Mansion?
Who? What's his name?
What's his name? Keith Morrison.
Keith Richards. I think he was part of the Rolling Stones.
The thing about this room is that there's no windows and no doors.
Are you serious? He did not.
Keep your arms and legs inside the fucking seat, please. Don't take any fucking photos.
The thing about the fucking photos is.
Anyway, yeah, theme parks are scary. I think that I think that it's I would love to see like the safety measures that happen every single day or at least every week, and because I think it's interesting. I mean, how do you.
Well, I don't know, like with these little local carnivals that come around. And I know like on the East Coast, they have lots of different, like on the boardwalks, like we used to go when I was a kid, we used to go to, Rehoboth and Bethany Beach. And one of them had a boardwalk. I think it was Rehoboth had a boardwalk and they had an amusement park there. And it didn't travel. It was just there. And it was always fun. I don't remember going on a lot of rides there, but like they had a Ferris wheel and stuff like that. But there has to be like regulations of some sort, and I don't know if those would be, regulated by a state. I would imagine each state would have their own regulations.
Regulated by the Theme Park Society of America.
But I don't get how Action Park got by with being so.
Because the guy didn't care about anything. The guy was just like, whatever.
I know, but who does regulate?
He had his own liliability. He created an insurance company.
His own liability company.
To have his own liability insurance.
Yeah.
That's how they got away with everything.
Yeah, which meant he had no liability.
Have you ever been on the?
No, but what I'm saying is that now I'm sure they have an agency that comes and does inspections. So would you not think that in the 90s they would have had something like that as far as, regulating
I mean, I think for
safety?
I think for Action Park, I think if you are the guy who's running it and you've made your own insurance company, you're probably not too concerned, and you've built all the rides literally like your buddy Jimmy came in, and he was just like,
there's no scientists, no engineers, no nothing. Just
I would
a bunch
imagine
of
you're not so concerned about having the safety people come in and but yeah, I mean, I think Disneyland, there's probably height, there's probably like gravitational pull restrictions and height restrictions and speed restrictions for there's got to be that kind of thing.
Maybe you shouldn't have been on that ride at 45 pounds and 8 years old. Maybe you were
2'4".
Maybe you were an inch too tall for the. If you're not this tall, you can't ride this ride.
Have you ever been on those Ferris wheels that like the traditional Ferris wheel, like you're in the thing, you're in like the seat, you're in the fucking seat.
Yeah, the fucking seat.
The seat always like stays. Like you always stay looking forward.
Stable, yeah.
But now there's ones that have like, you're in like a cage. You're in like a fucking cage.
Oh, so it goes, no.
And so the Ferris wheel's going, but then like you're doing 360s in the cage.
Yeah, no.
Terrifying.
No.
So like you get to it, like as it's coming, you're like, hell yeah, okay.
I wonder how many times you get thrown up on.
The cart in front of you as that's going up, the guy just fucking yaks. It just drips out of his cage into
I know.
you.
Well, they used to do. I mean, kids used to throw up on the teacups at Disneyland. So.
You ever been on that ride where it was like one of those like aviation gym carnival rides where it's like it goes around and like you like there's nothing that you like go up and you put your body up onto the wall.
It's like a wheel. It's like a wheel, and you like hold.
And then the floor.
Yeah, and
the floor just falls out from under you.
Oh, I didn't know the floor fell out.
Yeah, there's like no floor, it's just like spikes and fire and like tarantulas.
Oh, you're full of shit.
No, but it goes so fast that like you can't move.
Force of gravity just keeps you where you are. Yeah, you're safe. You're not going to be flying anywhere.
Did I ever tell you my pee story about at the carnival?
No.
Dad took us to a carnival years and years and years ago. I mean, I was like I was maybe first, second grade, like I was young.
Where was I?
I don't know. And you didn't want to go. You were like, fuck that place. Fuck those seats. And
fuck those unsafe
and like
things.
right when we got there, I think it was like me, Dad, and like the neighbor kid Freddie. And right when we got there, I was like, I should have peed before we left the house. Like I gotta pee. And at the time I was like, it doesn't make, like I was like, well, there's not gonna be any bathrooms here, obviously. It's an outside carnival, right?
Outhouses.
So I was like, man, what am I gonna do? Like, what a bummer if in like 10 minutes I could be like, yeah, we got to go home because I got to pee. So I was just like, okay, I got it.
Like your father would take you home because you have to
I don't know. I don't know what was going to happen. So the plan that I constructed in my head was that so I think like something happened, right? And I had to pee so bad that like a little bit of urine came out. Like I peed a little bit in my pants.
Yeah.
But it like I like felt my pants and it was still dry.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, if I let out a little bit of urine every like couple minutes, I'll evacuate my bladder and I won't have to pee anymore. And then the pee won't have time to like be all wet. It'll like dry as I'm letting like a little milliliter of droplet pee.
How old were you?
I don't know.
8 years old, 45
8
pounds.
years old, 2'4". And then I remember I was like, Dad, cause then like I let out some pee and it was like starting to get wet. Yeah. And I was like, this is, I got urine in my pants now. And I remember being like, Dad, I got to pee. He's like, all right, let's go to the porta potties. And I was like, there's potties here? And I peed in the porta potty. Good thing, because I did not want to have a pants full of urine that night,
Well, on top of that, you go on one of those scary rides and
just completely evacuates the bladder.
That's
and
right.
maybe the bowels.
That's right. Hey, you're loaded. You won't be when you come off the ride. So yeah, no, I'm not a real roller coaster fan for sure. And to be honest, I mean, we did take you guys to those little carnivals, but
I felt like growing up, the carnivals and like Disneyland was like a staple. Like I remember going to Disneyland a lot when we were kids, and whether it was like a group setting or, but again, like we never, I never thought about, other than the time that Splash Mountain almost threw me out, I didn't really ever think about like safety so much. Like I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun, Although didn't Sam got like her lip, she got like a fat lip on Peter Pan or something because the fucking bar hit her in the face, right?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I would say call her, but she can't talk right now. Ooh, Jesus. Yeah, so I think that there was a ride that we went on as a family, and Sam, like at the end, you have the ride, the thing, the lap bar and they say, lift your hands. And then the lap bar like shoots up like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I think Sam's head was still like, her neck wasn't strong enough yet. So her head was like down and the lap bar was like, you know.
We'll have to ask her when we talk to her. I don't remember that, but there's a lot of things I don't remember.
Yeah, that Alzheimer's starting to kick in.
You what?
I said that Alzheimer's. Is it Alzheimer's?
Alzheimer's. Yeah, they do say that the vaccine can do that.
Jesus, here we go.
Alzheimer's, ALS.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. We're like almost an hour in.
COVID.
What? So, all in all, did you enjoy the documentary, Class Action Park?
Yeah. Like I said, I was really amazed that, excuse me, that they got by without any kind of check on, safety. I mean, again, it was just put together haphazardly, everything. And I don't know, why did they end up going out of business? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure people were dying. Didn't he like lose money? I don't know. Something happened. The place was getting like, I mean, he was being, I felt like, every which way people were like, hey, this fucking park's a joke, So.
Yeah, I don't remember the end of it.
Well, he ended up dying. He didn't die at the park though. That was something.
Now that would have been poetic justice, wasn't right?
Connected. He's like, oh,
he died on the rope swing.
Water slide. All right, well, let's wrap this up. So, should people watch it? HBOmax, Class Action Park.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Not terribly long. You'll be amazed. I mean, you'll be frightened, and
yeah, it's an interesting watch. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but it also took me back a little bit to like, late 80s, early 90s when.
When nobody cared about anything.
Well, no, I mean, I think things were more relaxed. Things were, 100%. So.
Listen, you were born in the early 80s. It's like you make it sound like you were.
It was a different time. It was a different time than it is now. It just is.
Well, for amusement parks, I guess
but
again, I feel like again, like there should have been safety regulations then.
I'm sure
there are more probably now because we have more of a,
But I think especially if this thing opened in 78, I mean, it might have just been that thing where it's just like, fuck it, let's see what happens. Loop to loop, let's do it. Let's see how we can do this,
Yeah, but Disneyland's always been kind of safe.
Well, that's what you think. That's what you think. We don't know
how many deaths have they had at Disneyland?
We got to call my cousin Brian.
Or Google it. One or the other. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember hearing a lot of issues with Disneyland, but
Disneyland's got a ton of money though too, right? So like, Disneyland's gonna like this. I looked up this article about incident reports, and it talks about how
they hide them.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
Yeah,
something bad happens to Disneyland, and it's like, well,
we don't want it to be.
He didn't really drown in a small world.
He stopped breathing
before he came into the park.
That's right.
And he rode around on the roller coaster for a little bit.
He got water trapped in his lungs before he came into the park.
Before he came.
When I was a kid, at Disneyland, the craziest ride or the scariest ride was the Matterhorn. That's it. I mean, now that's like, it's like a kid's roller coaster.
I mean, it's still it whips you around pretty good. But I remember always like being like, oh my God, because there's the abominable snowman in there.
Oh, I know. Scary.
Like, oh, and then you would like come around like a corner and he just like, you're just like, oh fuck. Now you're just like, God, did they just bunch up a bunch of cotton balls and color the eyes red?
Really? There you go. That's all they did. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Well,
let's wrap this thing up.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen Class Action Park, watch it. It was an interesting documentary. It's on HBOmax.
And if you have any like exciting or interesting stories about amusement parks, especially like somebody gets hurt or something, I mean not you, but if you witnessed something that was scary, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, shoot us an email, mymomsandypodcast@gmail.com, or you guys can look us up on Instagram, mymomsandypodcast, or at mymomsandypodcast.
Podcast
at mymomsandypodcast on Instagram. And you guys can shoot us a DM there as well. And we have a new episode that comes out every Tuesday. And for everyone who's still listening and hanging out with us every week, we greatly appreciate you.
We thank you with all of our hearts.
Still don't know what my cousin Brian does for work.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
It makes it more interesting.
Anything else? We'll keep you guys up to date on if my mom Sandy is going to go to Arizona for her subpoenas, and I'll keep you guys up to date if I get murdered by my neighbors while I'm sleeping.
Really? Well, thank God you didn't sign your name. That's all I could say. I thought, oh my God, don't be. But they do have a sample of your handwriting now.
True.
That's a bad thing. And on top of that, we've talked about it on the podcast. So if they ever by accident,
it's not like I did anything. I didn't do anything. I just gave them a note that says, "Hey, your dog is fucking barking every single day for hours."
You
at a
think
time.
they're not going to know who it's coming from?
I mean,
seeing as the apartment manager's office is on one side and they've already been, and you're on the other side.
The dog is so fucking loud. I feel like it could come from anyway. But even if they do think that it comes from me, it's not like I was sitting there being like, hey, I'm going to cut your guys' fucking hearts out if you guys don't, I was just like, hey, your dog's really loud. I'm going to call animal control. This has been going on for fucking 3 months. I'm going to vandalize your bikes
if you don't. I'm going to vandalize
Hey, that's a really great electric bike. Kiss that fucking thing goodbye.
Does he have an electric bike?
The chick does, yeah.
Really?
The girl, the woman, yeah.
What's like a little motorcycle?
It's a bicycle that has like a little electric, like a little motor in it. So it can like go, I don't know, 20 miles an hour or something. She can ride on the shoulder of the street just a little bit faster.
I thought, maybe they have a car, but they park it on the street.
I don't think they have a car.
Maybe that's how they afford the dog. I'm picturing them taking the dog to doggy daycare with the dog on a leash and them on a bike, and they're trying to maneuver that.
You got to figure something out. Like I said, I mean, somebody had asked me recently, they said, well, what if you had a dog and, what would you be doing? And I was like, well, first off, I'd have a smaller dog because I've never wanted to pick up poop as big as my poop. Like, I don't want to pick up human-sized poop from a dog.
I don't blame you.
But, like, if that was the case for me, like, you better believe I'd be at the salon cutting hair with a fucking baby Bjorn with my dog in the baby Bjorn. Because I would just be like, I cared too much. I cared too much to be like, look, the dog is obviously stressed, miserable for the dog. Yeah. Right? The dog thinks his owners are never coming back. A, B, every fucking tenant who lives in this building has to listen to this shit every single day. Like, it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody involved, you know? And, you want to keep saying, oh, we're doing stuff. It's like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? Shoot me a list of the things you're doing, Like, cause I'm gonna, and that's the thing. It's gonna probably end up being that thing where I'm gonna have to call animal control. I'm gonna, the whole thing that I'm upset about is that this whole scenario is gonna make me look like the bad guy.
Yeah,
my property manager is gonna be like, he's a fucking asshole. He's not paying his rent. He's doing this, and it's like, look, I gave you, almost 3 months to deal with it without saying anything.
Well, first of all, you can't not say anything because it needs to be documented that
but now it has been right now it has been several times, but again, I was kind of like, look, I get it, you guys are moved into a new building, this is a new environment for the dog maybe just has to get comfortable, but again, it just continues and continues and continues.
Well, at least it's not like my mother's apartment building where they found bed bugs in the apartment underneath her. Yes,
I would almost be okay with that.
No, you would not.
Shower me with bed bugs. Then at least I get a good night's sleep. All right, I don't want to get into the bed bugs because you're going to go off on the whole thing. Things, yeah. All right, guys, we have a new episode coming every Tuesday. Thank you for listening to episode 72.
71?
72.
71.
72.
71.
I'm pretty sure it's 72.
Which one?
100% think that you're wrong. It's 100% 72. And we will see you guys next Tuesday.
All right, very good.